Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the new rebranded show that we got going on here. We are now Sporting Perspective, me, Sean Waters, James Sargent, bringing you all the fun sports information whenever we can. So, brand new era for us. Duck Zone in the past, Sporting Perspective now in the future. New logo and everything. James was a big part of the rebrand and piecing it all together. Ashley gets some credit too, I guess.
Yeah, we'll give the wife a little credit.
But yeah, it's been something in the making for a while. But that's what we're going to be going as going forward. And yeah, this is going to be a basketball episode to start off, and we'll start right off with something that happened over the weekend. The finals came to a conclusion. The Thunder won in seven. We were a little off, right on the Thunder, but much more competitive of a series. We saw a lot of guys become stars over the last few weeks. James, what was your reaction to a very exciting final?
Yeah, the biggest thing I took away is that it wasn't two super teams against each other. It was a young Thunder team who apparently don't know how to pop bottles. Um, I mean, it was a team that was built by the general manager. SGA came over in a trade, and then Jalen Williams and Chet were drafted. And the Thunder, excuse me, and Pacers are pretty similar. Um, why am I blanking on the center for Indiana?
Miles
Miles
Turner.
Miles Turner. He's been there for like 10 years. Obviously, they made a big swing of a trade trading Sabonis for Halliburton, but a lot of those other guys, Matherin, he was drafted, and then other just like good trades. They traded to Boston to get
Smith.
Naismith.
Yep.
TJ McConnell came over, I think, in free agency. So just like superstars that a lot of people probably haven't really heard of, and I just thought it was a good series.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm happy it went seven, and it was nice having a series that it felt a little bit more 2000s than just flat out offense and just craziness. We
Oh, there's
saw
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
defense.
defense in this series, and defense won the series in my opinion. And Rick Carlisle deserves a lot of credit for the scheme that he put together for Indiana. The only downer, which has been talked about a lot, Halliburton getting hurt in the seventh in the first quarter of the seventh game, it was a real downer. But even with Halliburton going down, I never felt like Indiana until the fourth quarter was truly out of it. I was like, oh, they could come back. They've shown it before because of the depth they'd shown. But in the end, Oklahoma City is really built for these next few years, and it's going to be fun to see them moving forward. And something that we'll talk about in a little bit, with Halliburton being out, with Tatum being out, with Lillard being out, all these guys that are injured on the out of the Eastern Conference, it's really going to be an interesting East for the 25-26 season.
Yeah, the East seems pretty wide open. We've already seen Boston make some big trades, trading Porzingis. We'll get to that at the end. I know we have a little trade segment we'll go through at the end, but yeah, I mean it's gonna be NBA is gonna be interesting, especially with the second apron. And I'll admit, I don't know. I feel like I look it up all the time, but they're really instilling this whole second apron and having to get under this cap and
Yep.
teams, you really get screwed if you're over the second apron. So
Yeah.
we're seeing a lot of teams do what we think are, I know I've texted you a couple times and I'm like, what are these trades are so weird? And it's like, well, they're literally just trying to cut salary.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, let's jump into the draft before we talk about all these trades. Draft just ended last night. Second round, first round. I know you've got a lot of notes that you want to talk about. I'm going to pass it on to you. Some things happened that were pretty obvious. Some things happened that weren't so obvious. I found the first round to be much more exciting than the second round. Second round was a little dry for me. Not as many names as I knew, but I'm going to pass it over to you. What were some of your highlights um, from the last two nights?
Well, the first thing I'll say is I think the United States took back the basketball world in the sense of We saw two Frenchmen go 1-2 last year. Not to say, I mean, France, Canada, like there's some really, really, really good up and coming countries competing against the USA when it comes to basketball. But I think we saw like the first like 7 or 8 picks were American born players. So I'll admit last year's draft was, like I said, two French guys went 1-2. I didn't know who they were. I had to look them up and see like what their games even were. With that being said, I mean, as we all know, Cooper Flag went number one. Surprise, surprise, that wasn't really too shocking. I did think it would be really funny if he didn't go number one, with the amount of people I saw who, $1,000 on Cooper Flag to go number one to win like 10 cents.
Yeah.
That would have been hilarious if he, like, you know what? Kyrie Irving's hurt. We'll take Dylan Harper so he can be our point guard. I mean, it wasn't going to happen, but it would have been kind of funny. So, I mean, we don't really have to go in. We've talked about Cooper Flag on here, I know, before, especially when we talked about USA basketball way back when we started the podcast because he was on the select team. He's going to be good.
Yep.
He's falling into, like, the perfect situation. He's a number one pick, but he's going to a team with Kyrie, Klay Thompson, Anthony Davis, Derek Lively. It's almost, like, unfair, but it is what it is. Other notes I wrote down. Ace Bailey, he had a very interesting start to his NBA career, well, even before his NBA career. Whoever was giving him information, or whoever his agent is, I personally think is a moron. To come out and just not do any interviews, any workouts, and then basically say, like, these are the teams I want to go to. It's like, dude, you're getting drafted. Like, there's 30 teams in the NBA. Just go where you're supposed to go. I did actually think, though, that he won in the sense that he didn't fall as far as we thought. I know you and I had talked, like, oh no, this could, like, really screw him over. Like, he could drop down to, like, 8 or 9. And when it comes to, like, going from, like, being he's supposed to go 3, and then he fell to 5, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that big of a deal. Okay, he lost out on a little bit of money, but 5 is better than I thought he was going to fall, like, I don't know, 7 or 8.
And he fell into a really good situation, in my opinion. In Utah, he's going to play a lot, and he's going to start. And I think in the end, he's gonna be there, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, this is a great place for me to showcase who I am."
Yeah, I mean, he gets to go in and play with, for now, Lowry Markkanen, Walker Kessler, potentially Colin Sexton. Yeah, he's should be in a decent situation. I mean, Utah, I don't know if they'll be any good, but
He's gonna play.
he's gonna play.
Yeah.
So the reason I said he was a loser, I said a winner and a loser. The reason I said he was a loser is just because by going to Utah, it wasn't one of his 3 destinations he wanted to go to. And I'm pretty sure his agent came out yesterday during the second round of the draft, or before the second round of the draft, and said that he might even hold out, which I don't think is a good move. I mean, I know there's a union and he's protected by the players union, but like I said, it's like, dude, just go show up, do your interview on Monday with the other draft picks, and yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass this one over to you because I know, again, we've talked about this. Brooklyn had 5 first-round picks. They didn't make any trades, and they took all 5 of their, like, they drafted all 5 of those picks. The only one I really liked, so Igor Demon, or Igor Demon, however, not Demon, Demon, I think. He's the BYU kid. I like him. I know the Thunder were looking at him, and the Thunder really liked him. He kind of reminds me of a Josh Giddey type, kind of like a point forward. He went a lot higher than I thought he would. And then, like I said, they had 5 picks. They drafted like 3 or 4 guards, and then Danny Wolf at the end. And I really like Danny Wolf. I think he actually was a good pick. What the hell is Brooklyn doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought for sure they would group at least 2 of the picks to move away. It kind of reminds me of the '09 draft, if I remember right, where Minnesota drafted 4 point guards, I think it was,
He has
and like
Johnny Flynn and
Ricky
Ricky
Rubio was
Rubio.
in there. They drafted a whole bunch of guys thinking at least one of these guys is going to hit. I think Brooklyn's got the same mindset here. Hopefully, one or two of these guys hit. I don't know. They might have just gotten no offers, and that's kind of what I'm living at right at this point. Is they may just not have gotten any offers, and they got stuck, and that's that because it's not a good situation. And after the draft, I mean, I don't like really. They got guys, but I don't think they got a guy. They got some guys that can probably be good role players. It'll be very fun to see during summer league. I'll leave it at that because you're going to be able to roll out a first round starting five in summer league. It's kind of fun. They
Yeah.
should. They in a lot of arguments, they probably should win the summer league.
Yeah, I'd have to see who the rest of the roster is, and if that starting five. I mean, yeah, because Danny Wolf is a center, I guess, and then you can just kind of
They
throw out the other guards. And I think there was one of them is technically a forward, so it's like three guards at forward, and then Danny Wolf is kind of a point forward, point center.
So I mean, it'll be fun. I guess we're gonna get a quick reaction to that because they probably will play all five at one point. It'll be interesting to see what happens. So
Yeah, that team will be weird because if they don't re-sign D'Angelo Russell, I'm pretty sure their best player and most expensive player will be Cam Thomas, and he's good, but he's like a I don't even know what to call him. He's a chucker.
yeah,
He literally just chucks in. Um, so moving on, I really liked the Suns pick with Malawach. I don't think they realized that he was going to fall that far.
yeah,
Um, you know, in the broadcast, it almost seemed simultaneous when they made the trade for Mark Williams. I would think that would obviously have been talked about prior. So I want to say the Mark Williams trade probably happened before it got told to us. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, Malawach is there. Well, let's just take Malawach, and now we have two really good centers. I mean, center was a problem for the Suns last year. They
yeah.
traded for Richards. He had a first couple good games here and there, but he wasn't really consistent. Mason Plumlee is now showing his age. He's old. And Oso Iguodala is he's still really young and raw. So I actually really like what the Suns did in that first round. It's unfortunate they had to trade two first round picks to get Mark Williams. Luckily, one's like a 2029 future, so that's a ways away. Or was it 27? Now I can't remember. And then it was a 29 pick. So Williams was, if I remember right, a couple years ago, a lottery pick. So, I mean, trading 29, that's way, way in first round. So it's not like you gave up a lottery pick. They didn't have to give up the 10th pick and Malawach to get Mark Williams. So I really liked that. The Thunder got what I thought is a really, really good, maybe even could argue the best center in the draft class in Thomas Sorber from Georgetown. He doesn't do anything exceptionally well. I'm not trying to say he's bad. He's just not excellent at any single one thing. He's like really good at a lot of things. He's not super athletic. So he kind of reminds me of like Al Horford. And it's like, okay, Al Horford has a title with Boston. Al Horford, basically, his entire career has been like a really good player. So if Thomas Sorber can be like an Al Horford type player, I mean, the guy's going to play like 15, 20 years. So I think that's a really good pick by the Thunder to just get another young piece to just throw right into that entire team that they're not losing. They're losing no pieces. There's no unrestricted free agents, which is insane. Another one where I know I'll just kick it over to you because this is very odd. Hansen Yang. Portland traded to get Hansen Yang. Guy comes out of the crowd, and he was projected to be like second round. He has good intangibles. He's super tall. He's really good at pass. His vision's like really good from like what I've seen in the highlights. Obviously, in the highlights, they're only going to show good things, but they're calling him the Chinese Jokic. I don't know. It just seems like had you gotten him like end first round or even second round, it's like, oh, that's a really good pick. But for where he went, that seems kind of odd on Portland's end.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And just kind of piggybacking off of that, I thought some small market teams did some weird things. That was one of them. Obviously, time will tell, and maybe it'll silence the critics. But I thought Portland's pick there with the trade was odd. I thought New Orleans did some weird things, especially with the flip with Atlanta. I didn't understand that. I thought Atlanta did very well. Another team I'll just say really quick, I thought that did really well was Charlotte. I think Charlotte did really well, getting some good scores, which they desperately need. But some small market teams did some weird things, and I would say almost from beginning to end, some teams really stayed quiet. And do you have any other things that you're going to say? Because I was going to go on a tangent real quick.
Go for it.
No, there's two things I kind of want to talk about really quick. One, and you can say you like it or don't. I absolutely hate the fact how they do the draft, where the guy is picked and we already know he's traded, yet he's wearing like a Rockets hat. But he's going to the Suns,
Yeah,
and everyone knows. It makes it so confusing that it's just like, especially when you get to the second round, you have no idea. I mean, there was literally, I think it was like the Suns pick that was like Houston's pick that was once like Memphis's pick. You have no idea who it actually is and where it actually began.
yeah.
And it's like,
They need to do a better job of that. It's all
the,
the thing that I don't like is like technically all these trades are like they're not confirmed yet, because the new
yeah,
the new year hasn't started for the NBA. These trades don't go into effect until what, like early July or something, and it's like, come on,
but
like unless something weird happens, like
but
these
that
don't
but
happen.
that and this is where it looks really bad is 2 months earlier you have the NFL, and literally you have trades happening 5 minutes before, and then the guy going up on the stage and his name is on the correct jersey.
Yeah, and
It's like, you're not even doing anything fancy here. Why can't we just make it easy? Like, we know some of these guys are never ever gonna put that jersey on. Just get the right hat, because it you get so confused, especially in the second round for me.
well, it's not like, so going back to what you said. So like Malawatch put on a Rockets hat.
Yes,
He's never playing for the Rockets unless later in his career he gets traded. But like, it's not like the Rockets drafted him, and like 2 weeks from now it's like, and we're gonna trade him to Phoenix, and it's like, okay, so he was technically a Rocket for summer league and like a couple weeks, and it's like, no, like the trade is
yeah,
because
but
of the Durant trade that happened
and
before the draft. Like,
and everyone that's watching the draft knows that trade has already happened.
right,
Like, even the commissioner is standing there being like, "Well, this is kind of dumb."
yeah,
Like, so I just wanted to should throw that out there. And then the second thing, my goodness, I hope to God that Shaquille O'Neal and Barkley and that TNT crew that is now coming over to ESPN, I hope they do the draft next year, because the people that did the draft this year were horrific.
no, it was boring.
It was boring. It was bad. Colin Cowherd got drafted at one point.
Yeah,
I mean, it was so bad. I don't know how ESPN, and this even goes back to the finals. Like, I like Richard Jefferson. Richard Jefferson should not be calling the finals.
yeah, probably not. He's not really.
And I mean, I like the guy, but like, the crews that they're putting as their star crews are not star crews. Like, Kendrick Perkins should not be the guy.
Well, here's the thing. It's like if you want to have like a analytical approach and have like the Jay Billises and those type of guys, put them on like NBA TV, so like the hardcore NBA people can go watch the draft on NBA TV and get their like analytics, like breakdowns of this, breakdowns of that. I'm not saying don't show highlight reels on like ESPN and stuff and like
Yeah.
tell me about the player, but like you said, yeah, have Barkley and Shaq and Ernie and those guys and Kenny, have them do the draft next year and have it be a little more fun. Like,
Yeah, have it be fun, goofy, enjoyable. Like, I was watching more of Bob Myers and Stephen A, and they were having a good time. But like, the ESPN crew was super serious. And if you're super serious, you got to get stuff right. The problem is they were being super serious and getting stuff wrong,
Right.
which is brutal.
Yeah, the Colin Coward thing was bad.
So it's unbelievable. Um, Anything else in the draft you want to go over before we jump off of it?
The last thing of the first round, I'll say, I was a little surprised Austin Newell dropped. He was someone, I mean, he was someone I know like mid, in the 5-6 pick when I was kind of waiting for the Suns. I was like, oh, maybe the Suns will take Austin Newell at 10. But he dropped, so that could be he could I don't even remember where he went. He went like
Atlanta.
did he go to Atlanta? I think that's
Yeah.
a good pick for Atlanta.
Yeah.
The last two things I'll say, I mean, we don't really have to go too much into the second round. It was a lot of guys like I haven't really heard of. I mean, there was a good French connection, and there was a lot of French,
Mm-hmm.
and I think there was like 3 Australian dudes who got drafted. So I'll be honest,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about those guys. Um, the two things I will say: the Suns made multiple draft pick trades to move up to 31, so the first pick of the second round, to get Fleming out of St. Joe's. Suns needed a power forward because they basically only have shooting guards and small forwards and and centers. So I think Fleming, he might even start right out of the gate, but he looks like a mix between like Obi Toppin and like Pascal Siakam. I know those are his NBA comparisons I've kind of seen thrown around there. So I thought the Suns getting him and then taking is it Kobe? I want to say Kobe Brea out of Kentucky. I thought that was another really good pick. I mean, he's a 6'7" guard, can shoot lights out. Who was the last Kentucky guard who should, around that? I mean, we'll say Booker's 6'6", not 6'7", but no one thought Booker was going to be a playmaker. No one thought Booker was going to be the player he is now. Everyone's like, oh, he's just a sharpshooter. Not saying Kobe Bryant is the next Booker, but I see the vision of what the Suns are going for, and I'm actually really happy with what they've done and the moves they've made. So, last thing I'll say, if there is one second round pick I really, really liked, Memphis took Javon Small, guard out of West Virginia. The dude, I don't quote me on this, I want to say he led the Big 12 in scoring. He's undersized. He's like 6'1", super athletic, a really good shooter. Not great off the dribble, but he's a good catch and shoot guy. I think he's going to fit in perfectly, whether he plays alongside Ja Morant or backs up Ja Morant, just because they're honestly kind of similar. Ja's obviously a freak when it comes to athleticism. Javon Small's not that good, but I mean, look up Javon Small's highlight reel. He's a good player. So that's a second round pick that I really like.
Before we sign off, let's talk about a couple trades. We don't have to go too deep into them. There are a bunch that happened before draft night. We've all heard them, but I just kind of want to hear your reaction on, because there's a lot of big names that got moved. Just want to hear your reaction to a couple of these. I'll start with the first one I think happened was Desmond Bane going from Memphis to Orlando. Orlando sending 4 draft picks plus some players. What was your reaction to that one?
I mean, I like Desmond Bane as a player, and I think he is going to fit in nicely in Orlando. He's a piece they definitely need. I think he'll slot in perfectly alongside Banchero, and Wagner and Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs. I mean, they're building something, and like we said, the East is wide open. Orlando could be really, really good next year. But for what they gave up for him, way too much. Way too much.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Orlando was going to do more in the draft and kind of double down on it. They didn't, but I thought it was a lot of draft picks going one way. And Desmond Bane doesn't shoot from 3 like he's done the last few years. That's going to be a horrible trade. Kevin Durant, we've all heard this one, going from Phoenix to Houston. How'd you feel about that one?
I mean, when I got the notification, I wasn't too excited. As days have gone by, and seeing that we got Malawach with that 10th pick, yeah, I'm okay with it. I mean, there's so much time left before the season starts that who knows? I mean, they say Jalen Green is going to stick around and Dylan Brooks is going to stick around, and they very well could. Um, yeah, I mean Jalen Green was the leading scorer for Houston, and they were the 2 seed. I mean the guy's getting a ton of slack for coming over to Phoenix, but I mean I don't know. I'm fine with it. I think it was a fine trade. You traded a 37-year-old. I guess you'll still call Durant a superstar, but like the trade had to be made. I'm okay with it.
Por- Porzingis going, and this was a 3-team deal. I forgot all the moves, but Porzingis was the big name going to Atlanta. What do you think there? Now it makes sense. Atlanta's stacking up.
Yeah, I mean they just wanted. That's an interesting team. Clint Capella, I know, is an unrestricted free agent, so he's probably not coming back now that they have Porzingis. I love Onyeka Okongwu. He's like their young center out of USC. Um, a lot of teams seem to be running 2 big men. So I wouldn't be surprised if Porzingis and Okongwu see the floor together. I mean, we've seen, Cleveland runs Jared Allen and Mobley. We saw Chet Holmgren and Hartenstein playing together. It just seems like these 2 big men lineups are kind of, it almost originated for myself, I guess, for our age. I'm not going to go way back into the NBA ether of way back in the 60s, 70s, and whatnot, but the Tim Duncan, David Robinson era, that worked out pretty well. So maybe we're just kind of seeing a cyclical turn back into, a different type of NBA, like basically 2 big men down low and just like surrounded by shooters. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a salary dump for the Celtics to get under the second apron. But I mean, if Porzingis can stay healthy, that's a good 1-2 punch with him and Trae Young.
We'll go 2 more minor trades. We don't have to go too deep into these. We had the Boston Portland trade.
Yeah, that one I still don't quite understand that one. Again, it's more salary dump. Simons is a good player. I'm surprised Portland gave up on Simons so quickly. They're going all in on Scoot Henderson, I guess, and Drew Holiday will be there to play defense and mentor him. But yeah, it's fine. Whatever, fine, I guess.
And then another one that's kind of minor at this point, Jordan Poole going to Washington. CJ McCollum going, Jordan Poole going to New Orleans. CJ McCollum going to Washington. Washington's kind of becoming an interesting place.
Yeah, they're bringing in a lot of expiring contracts for not this summer, but for the following summer. It seems like they're just going to dump a ton of money next year and
Yeah.
then maybe go after something. I don't even know what that team. I guess you have Alex Sarr, who was the number 2 pick last year in the draft. He's kind of their big guy. Bub Carrington had a really good rookie year. Yeah, I don't know. That team, they kind of shipped off CJ McCollum to kind of NBA hell, but maybe
Yeah.
they'll be able to rebuild in a couple of years.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see, as I talked about at the beginning. There's a lot of injuries going into this Eastern Conference 2025, 2026 season. No Lillard, no Tatum, no Halliburton. 3 great players. The East feels wide open. It feels like one of these bottom feeders, or maybe 2 of these bottom feeders over the last few years, may blossom up. A Charlotte, a Washington. There might be a team that comes out of nowhere. And then we'll end on this note. The Knicks still don't have a goddamn coach.
Yeah, I don't really know what they're doing. They had 1 draft pick today, and they took some like athletic French dude. I mean, at the point in the draft where they took him,
Yeah.
you're kind of throwing a dart anyways. But I
I
don't know.
mean,
I don't know what the Knicks are doing.
looking back on it, it feels like the Tom Thibodeau firing was the dumbest thing ever, because running that team back right now, they would probably be the favorite to win these.
Yeah, them or Cleveland. Yeah,
Yeah, because Boston, based off they're looking like they're
they're
taking a step
tanking.
back. Milwaukee, we don't know what they're doing. Giannis may not even be back. We don't know. The Pacers may run it, but at the exact same time, it's hard to see that Pacer team running it back at the fullest. there could be a wild, wild team that comes out of nowhere next year out of the East. It could very well happen. In Atlanta, Charlotte, we could see something weird.
I mean, Orlando.
And
Orlando
and
could be the best team in the East.
and a team that was dreadful this year that just picked up the third pick, who we didn't talk anything about in this thing at all. Philadelphia should be healthy next year too.
That's true. If they didn't get rid of Paul George, they brought in VJ Edgecombe, and then if they can just get Embiid to the playoffs, like don't play you don't need to play him every game, that's fine. But just have him healthy for the playoffs and you have Embiid, Paul George and Maxey and Edgecombe. That seems pretty formidable to me.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think I'm about to get hit with sprinklers, so I think we got to sign off. So, yeah. But any words you want to say before we sign off here?
Caleb Love signed a 2-way deal with Portland, so I will be checking him out when I go to Summer League in 2 weeks.
Nice. Very exciting. I didn't know you were going to Summer League.
Yeah, gonna go just for the first weekend with a buddy.
Good deal.
So,
Fun.
yeah. Other than that, Sporting Perspective, keep that name in mind.
Yep.
No longer.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, we will talk to you soon. Sport's a little bit dry through July, but we'll jump in here soon. We will always have something to talk about. But, guys, make sure you subscribe. Hit that follow button. We'll talk to you guys soon. New era starting now. Later.